Oh, that
Holy
was
fuck, that was nice.
Look at my
I did.
M1114.
No, don't look at it. It looks fucking ugly.
No, it doesn't.
Fucking aluminum. It has aluminum chipping, Dennis.
What's wrong with that?
It makes me want to puke.
Well, that's your model, and that sucks.
It does.
Real. Okay. Well, on that note, you're listening to the Micro Machines podcast. It's me. I'm back. You haven't heard my voice for a few episodes. So, sucks to suck. Callum, I believe
Yo.
this is your episode. This week we are discussing World War II Italian tanks.
Yep. I decided, I bought an Italian tank model, so I figured I'd just speak about them. But before we jump into them, because the Italian tanks are actually quite interesting, and a lot of them don't deserve the reputation that they have. But before I get into that, we'll do some introductions. So, as usual, we've got me, Callum, from New Zealand, and I'm drinking the strongest coffee I've ever had in my house. And my heart rate's probably sitting at about 200 at the moment.
All right, well, you got me, Dennis, from Canada, and I'm also drinking a coffee right now, but it's not black. I did put a bit of milk in it.
You've got me, Garrison in Kansas, also drinking a coffee, but mine is not black. It has a pumpkin spice in it, because, ladies and gentlemen,
Fucking knew
it is
it.
It's
fucking
white
fall.
girl autism!
I'm so excited! Fuck you. Your mom liked
Basic
the latte
white
when we got done.
bitch.
Oh my god, Garrison, can we go to Starbucks after this, please?
Yeah, you're about to have the best 30 seconds of your life, and then it's Starbucks time.
Oh my
Let's
god.
fucking go.
What a
30
man.
seconds. What are you doing it twice?
Yes. 15 of that is undressing.
What about the pizza time?
That's not included.
All right. So, I've decided I'm going to just go through a brief outline of all the tanks that Italy had, which is not many. That's why I can go through basically all of them. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to omit the tankettes that the Italians use, because I want to do an entire episode on tankettes at a later point, because they're quite interesting in themselves. So, first up, we are going to start with the Fiat 3000. Take it you guys are looking at the slide for that? Yes,
No,
Dennis, what
that's
does
an
it look
FT17.
like?
That's an FT17, dude. What are you talking about?
Yes, so after the First World War, the Italians bought a whole bunch, quite a few FT-17s, and then started making their own.
Of course it did.
So the Fiat 3000 is basically an FT-17, but built by the Italians and changed.
It's worse.
It is significantly worse, it seems.
Look at its ugly ass head.
So the initial order for these were for 1,400 of these Fiat 3000s, and they were placed in May 1919. The conclusion of the war led to a cancellation of the original order, resulting in only 100 units being ultimately delivered. It was until 1921 that the first Fiat 3000 tanks were put into service, officially designated as the Carro d'Assalto Fiat 3000 Mod 21, which translates to Fiat 3000 Assault Tank Model 21 in Italian. However, tests
Can we
of the mod... What?
I'm sorry, can we contact Fiat and ask if they can still make some of these?
However, tests of the Model 21 indicated its armament. Oh, fuck, the coffee's getting to me. Armament, comprising two 6.5mm machine guns, was insufficient, prompting a recommendation to equip it with a 37mm gun as its primary. So, in 1929, an upgraded version of the Fiat 3000, armed with a 3740 gun, underwent testing and was formally adopted in 1930, receiving the designation Carro d'Assalto Fiat 3000 Mod 30. The Model 30 not only featured improved armament, but also incorporated several other modifications compared to the Model 21. These changes encompassed a more potent engine, enhanced suspension, a different engine compartment design, and a reconfigured method of storing external supplies. Notably, Italian engineers implemented a pioneering design concept by orientating the engine sideways and slightly widening the hull, which made the tank's fighting compartment more spacious while simultaneously reducing its overall length and weight, a concept that continues to influence Russian designed tank design today. Clearly, it works.
Does it? Does it?
Hey, it never said it was a compliment. Some Model 30 tanks were still produced with two 6.7mm machine guns as their main, akin to the Model 21 instead of the 37mm. A limited number of Model 21 vehicles were exported to countries such as Albania, Latvia, Hungary, and Abyssinia, back then also known as Ethiopia today. With the onset of World War II approaching, the designations of these tanks underwent changes to align with the identification system adopted by the Italians for the duration of the war. Consequently, the Model 21 was redesignated as the L5-21, and the Model 30 became the L5-30. I will say, I think when it comes to something like tank names, designations, all that, the Italians had the best.
Fiat 3000.
Well,
Really?
actually, yeah,
That sounds like some dumb shit I'd make up at like 5.
we're gonna see it later on. Their designation was actually pretty damn good compared to everyone else. The British and the Americans were the worst,
the
and
Mark
followed
I
by the
everything.
Fuck
Japanese.
you, I love my M1s and M3s and M2s.
The
all
M1,
2,000
the
of
M1 what? The M1 Garand, the M1 Carbine, the M1 Helmet, the M1 Bayonet, the M3 Scout, the M3 Lee, the M3 Stuart.
We all have flaws, okay? You don't have to point out all of my pros.
I
This
don't
is
know
not
what's
what we're
worse.
here for.
I mean, you still got the British who would say, let's focus on the Churchill. The Mark 7 Churchill is technically the A22 infantry tank Mark 4 Churchill Mark 7. That's shite.
Yeah, I
Whereas
don't want to hear shit about Americans.
I'm gonna give you a shit about Americans.
I'm gonna give you shit about Americans.
I mean, you just need to look at the Easy 8. You know that the name, the official name for the Easy 8 is like 20 words.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
bad.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
It's like the whole name describes what's in the tank. It's like we don't need that.
But
Okay.
you gotta be special.
Okay, so the Fiat 3000 Model 21 entered combat for the first time in February 1926 during operations in Libya. It was subsequently deployed in the Second Italo-Abyssinian War. That is such a cool name for a war. Italo-Abyssinian. Against Ethiopian forces in 1935. Notably, this tank was not utilized by the Italians in the Spanish Civil War. When Italy entered World War II in June 1940, a limited number of Fiat 3000s were still in service with the Italian army and were put into action in the Greek-Albanian front. These tanks
You know
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? The Italians entered before the Americans did. That's wild.
I know, and everyone says Italians are lazy.
Right? Fuck.
So these tanks also played a role as some of the final Italian tanks to face off against the Allies. In June 1943, when the Allies launched their invasion of Sicily, 2 Italian tank companies stationed on the island were still equipped with the Fiat 3000. One of these companies took up a defensive position using their tanks as stationary fortifications. Meanwhile, the other company was deployed in a mobile capacity to respond to the Allied amphibious landing, particularly during the Battle of Gela. However, only a few of these tanks managed to survive the advancing Allied forces. No kidding.
They died gay.
You imagine a Fiat 3000 against like a Sherman?
Fair fight. It's a fair fight.
Oh. It's hard to believe that this was designed, and this is based off like the fucking FT-17, and they're still using it in 1943. I mean,
If that's all you got, that's all you got. You know.
Yeah,
Gotta make it work,
fuck.
man.
yeah. So, if you want to make a Fiat 3000, there's not a lot. I'm going to change up the way we do these slides. Instead of having all the models at the end, I'm going to put it with the actual vehicles themselves. So,
Feeling
only
bold,
really
aren't we?
Yep. So I could only really find one company that does the Fiat 3000. They do it in 35th. It is the Can't remember the name of the company. One moment.
God, fucking bitch, fucking. I swear, the stupid. I hate feathers so much.
Why are you using feathers?
To make palm leaves.
Oh, right, yeah.
Garrison's in his tropical phase.
HIDF, HIDF, HIDF.
Okay, so
Don't worry, we'll be under the desert soon.
Rolling up the Suez Canal in my World War II destroyer.
okay, so the main company that seems to be doing the Fiat 3000 is Toro model. And the example you see here is a 1 series, 1A series. So this is with the twin 6.5mm machine guns. It's done in 35th scale. I'm not sure. I've never heard of Toro before. Well, I've come across them like online, but I've never you don't hear about them a lot. Dennis, do you know anything about them?
Toro? I feel like I've heard the name, but honestly, I couldn't comment on their quality or anything because I've never done anything regarding them.
It seems like just one of those small run companies where you come across the name a lot, but you don't look into it beyond that.
It's probably going to be rubber tracks, I'd imagine.
Did I see a? I think I saw.
Watch them
someone
be
actually-
these like beautifully like one-piece resin printed tracks that just go together perfectly.
Yeah, Garrison, look at that box art, and you really want to say that that's me. Really? Are we going there, buddy? We going there?
Hey, I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, okay? Because they're recreating
Oh
the
no,
F.
those. No, that's. I'm not. They don't.
Yeah, Dennis, it's
They
not
don't
rubber
look
band
at-
tracks. It's all one piece.
They don't actually look rubber band.
You don't
No.
look like a rubber band.
Aw. I'll kiss you too.
Not you, Dennis. You do look like a rubber band.
Oh,
So there's also a high chance you could probably find a conversion kit for a FT17 into a Fiat 3000. But yeah.
Ah, yes. The resin conversion kits of the FTC.
oh no.
Shall we move on before Dennis starts having flashbacks?
Oh god.
Yeah,
Oh, what the hell?
Okay.
What kind
up
of
next-
What
Warhammer?
the
looking ass
hell?
tank? This is the most Imperial Guard looking tank I've ever seen.
Dun, 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 dun.
No, not that Imperial Guard, dude.
Yes, we're going with that Imperial Guard, not your stupid ass 40 Warhammer crap. Suck it. Yeah, cry
Anyway.
about it.
So up next after the Fiat 3000, we have the Fiat 2000, which is a very big departure from the design of the light tank. As
Hey,
you
yo,
can
go
see
back,
here-
go back.
What do you mean? This thing is awesome. Look how
Wrong
big it is.
direction.
Look how big it is. It's like
No, Callum, no. It's
the drive sprocket, like compared to a human being.
It's fucking gigantic.
Okay, so this is the Fiat 2000. So during World War One, Italy did not have any armored units in its military arsenal due to a shortage of tanks. No kidding. The only viable solution at that time was to initiate the development and production of early new tank designs. In 1916, the Fiat Automobile Company accepted the task of designing and manufacturing Italy's first tanks. A prototype of this novel tank was presented to a military commission on June 21st, 1917. While its mechanical sections were fully functional, the tank's superstructure was a work in progress. The prototype initially featured a wooden mock-up with an open conical turret and a dummy gun. It wasn't until 1918 that the final configuration of the superstructure was eventually completed. The Fiat 2000, weighing 40 tons, was similar in size to the British Mark V tanks of 28 tons. Yeah, right. The driver had good visibility with a large front port and small side openings. Unlike contemporary tanks, its layout separated the engine compartment below the crew compartment. It featured a 240 horsepower water-cooled engine with 6 cylinders driving the tracks through a transverse transmission, offering a range of 75 kilometers on paved roads. The armor, made of riveted steel plates, was 15 millimeters on the sides and 20 millimeters on the front. Initially armed with a turret-mounted machine gun and 10 machine guns, a later modification added a ventilator in the roof and repositioned the machine guns for better defense. A unique feature was its rotating turret. One of the first tanks allowing for a 65-17 howitzer with a 65 millimeter caliber and minus 10 degrees and plus 75 degrees for elevation. That's pretty good.
That
For a
is
tank.
pretty decent.
Like minus 10 plus 75. That That's like an SPG at that point, basically. So, often referred to often referred to as the heaviest World War One tank, the Fiat 2000 never actually saw combat during the war. A modest,
Boo.
I know, a modest order for 50 tanks was never fulfilled, resulting in only 2 prototypes being produced. While technically heavy in design, the German K-Wagon also failed to produce prototypes before the end of World War One. Following the war, the Fiat 2000 was showcased as part of the arsenal used in defeating the enemy. That's like
What the fuck?
that's the equivalent of the Soviets using the IS-3 in their victory
Berlin
parade.
March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2 completed prototypes were dispatched to Libya to combat guerrilla forces alongside other tanks acquired from France, forming a special unit known as the Tank Battery. In Libya, the Fiat tank demonstrated an average speed of 4 kilometers an hour. After 2 months, its operational career ended as it couldn't match the rapid mobility of the enemy. One tank remained in Tripoli, while the other returned to Italy in the spring of 1919, where it performed impressive demonstrations before the king at Rome Stadium. It scaled a 1.1 meter wall, demolished a 3.5 meter wall, crossed a 3-meter wide trench, and felled several trees. Despite these feats, the heavy tank failed to rekindle interest and was eventually abandoned.
Hell yeah. Fuck them trees.
The surviving Fiat 2000 in Rome spent several years in storage until Colonel Mattis, is it Maltese? Colonel Maltese, we'll say that, ordered its transfer to Fort Tiburtino, almost encountering a fire during transportation. In 1934, it resurfaced at a Campo Dux parade, having been repainted and rearmed with 2 37-40mm guns in place of its front machine guns. Subsequently, it reportedly underwent transformation into a monument in Bologna, and its subsequent fate remains unknown. So,
It's
if
probably
you want,
sitting in somebody's backyard in the middle of the Alps.
probably, can you imagine this thing had a fucking howitzer on the top, plus eventually 2 37mm guns in the front and machine guns? This thing's a beast. If you want to build one of these giant tanks, there's only one model that you can go to, and it is a good model company you could go to. It is Vargas Scale Models with his resin printed.
Oh, hell yeah.
He does a Fiat 2000 and it retails for about, I think it's about, I want to say $60. It's one of the
Yeah,
more,
no thanks.
it's one of the pricier ones just because it's quite large. But yeah, if you want a decent kit, Vargas Scale Models, he does some really cool stuff. So I'm not surprised he does this one. But
I want to do his, was it the Matilda he made?
Matilda 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want his Matilda. Matilda 1 is a lot. Like, I could happily build any one of his. It's just so cool.
Vargas, baby. Come on the pod. Talk to us. Chat soon.
Okay, if we go to the next slide, we started
Yeah,
getting into
before
the
we get a
more.
sexual harassment charge.
That's a nice long barrel. Do we
I think he
lose?
thought that was funny.
I think we lost him.
You heard it here, folks.
I fucking choked on my coffee.
Live on air, Garrison dying.
Fuck. My esophagus fucking hurts. Ugh. God damn it, Dennis.
You're welcome. Aren't you glad I'm back?
Bro, I
Good.
almost spit coffee on my fucking laptop and my palm tree. Alright, fucking long barrel, send it.
You good? We good to go?
Yeah, fuck.
Okay, so up next we have the Caro Amato L640. Now this is where their naming convention comes in. And basically what it is, so you have Caro Amato, which is Italian for tank. L stands for light, and you'll notice that it's L for light, M for medium. In Italian, for heavy is P, not H, because that's their word. So you have the designation of the tank type, the 6 or the number after it, that's the weight. So L6 is light tank 6 ton, and then the last number, so 40, that means it was built in 1940. So light tank, 6-ton, 1940 built. So the L640, a light tank utilized by the Italian army during World War II from 1940 onwards, had its origins as an export product designed by Ansaldo. However, upon learning of the design, Italian army officials expressed interest, leading to its adoption. This tank served as the primary armoured vehicle for Italian forces on the Eastern Front, often in conjunction with the L640-based Semovante 4732 self-propelled gun, which we'll be talking about in a bit. And it also saw action in the North African campaign. Officially designated as the Carro Armato, or armoured vehicle, tank, L640 by the Italians, this nomenclature conveyed its characteristics. L signifying leggero, meaning light, followed by its weight in tons of 6, and the year of adoption 1940, as I was saying before. It actually makes sense, so yeah, doing better than the British.
It does make sense.
The L640 represented a conventional light tank design constructed with rivets. Positioned at the center, a one-man turret housed a single Breda Modello 35 20mm main gun and a Breda 38 8mm coaxial machine gun. The driver occupied the front of the hull. The armor, also riveted, ranged from 6 to 40mm in thickness, roughly aligning with the armor of existing Allied light tanks. This is like the Italian. This is the Italian M3. It kind of looks it as well.
Yeah.
Like from a distance, you'd be looking, going, "Is this that Italian, or is this like a Stuart?"
I like it, honestly. Like, it's a cute little design. Looks like it'd be great. Little fast vehicle.
Mm,
Good for urban combat.
yeah. So, originating as an advancement of the L335 light tank, the L6 underwent several prototype iterations in the late 1930s. The initial version featured a 37 main gun mounted in a sponson and a turret armed with a machine gun. Later, a variant emerged with a turret-mounted 37mm gun, while another version boasted twin 8mm machine guns. Ultimately, the production-ready configuration known as the Carro Armato L640 entered production in 1939, resulting in a total production of 419 units. Italian L640 light tanks saw action in various theaters of war, including the Balkans campaign, the conflict against the Soviet Union, the later stages of the North African campaign, and the defense of both Sicily and Italy. On the Eastern Front, the L640 played a central role as the primary tank used by Italian forces. It often operated alongside the Semovante 4732. While the L640 represented an improvement over the prevalent Italian tankettes and was a commendable light tank for its size, it had already become outdated by the time it was introduced. Its relatively low profile, just slightly taller than an average person, made it valuable for reconnaissance missions, and its armament proved effective against lighter vehicles. However, due to the absence of a suitable medium tank, it was sometimes deployed in combat roles which was ill-suited. Furthermore, the German army also employed the L640. In 1943, 26 Italian L6 tanks were captured and put to use by the independent state of Croatia. Following the war, the Polizia di Stato, I think that's just the state police, continued to use the L640 until it was phased out in the early 1950s. Now, if you want to build an L640, well, you can go with Italian if you really hate yourself. However, Tamiya, this is one of those things, what's the deal with Italian and Tamiya, Dennis?
They have a bit of a partnership where basically Larry will provide the sprues of the tank itself, and then Tamiya will usually add stuff like stowage or a couple of figures, and then they'll make their new instructions.
So that's what we got here. The L640
It's actually not
is
a bad
branded.
deal.
I mean, like the Italian aren't that bad.
It's honestly, I've seen this kit before. It's perfectly reasonable. Like the figures are really good too. So I think you can't get the best of both worlds, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not. Is it priced stupidly, or is it not too bad?
It's not too bad. I think it's in the roughly like $40-ish, $45 range.
That's not bad at all.
It's not terrible. I mean, you do get photo etch there, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a limited edition one, so.
Wise enters the chat.
But yeah, if you want to build one, the Italeri Tamiya L640, it's a good kit. And one thing I will say, Italian camo schemes look pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And this one, the desert with the green, I don't know why, it just works.
Goes hard.
Yeah. If we go to the next slide,
Well, I
we have
like the whole mounted gun here. This is very smart.
I honestly really like the design of this tank. It might not be a good tank, but it looks cool. There's just something about it.
Yes.
So this is the M11-39, which is basically, it's like the Italian version of the M3 Lee, but smaller. It's like a light tank version of the M3 Lee, even though this is a medium tank. The Italian medium tank, known as the Carro Armato M1139, was initially manufactured before the outbreak of World War II. It went on to serve in both Africa and Italy from 1939 to 1944. The official Italian designation for this tank was Carro. Yeah, we know that, but I won't say that one again. But medium tank, 11 tons, 1939. The M1139 was originally conceived as a breakthrough tank, with design inspiration drawn from the British Vickers 6-ton tank, particularly evident in its track and suspension design. One unique feature was the placement of the final reduction gears inside the front-mounted drive sprockets, eliminating the need for larger final drive housings on the front armour. However, the M1139 had a brief service life due to several design flaws, including the placement of its primary 37mm gun in the hull. That's only a 37.
I would have figured that's at least like a 45.
Nah, the 45s didn't come in. They didn't use 45s. They had 47s, but they turn up later. So the original concept aimed to use the main gun against enemy tanks while relying on turret-mounted armament for defense. However, the main gun was fixed with limited traverse of only 15 degrees on either side. The tank featured dual 8mm machine guns and a small manually operated one-man turret. The initial plan was to position the 37mm L40 armament in the turret, but space constraints prevented this. Instead, the design followed the pattern of French Char B1 tanks and anticipated early versions of the Churchill tanks, where the hull guns were howitzers rather than high-velocity guns. The M1139 suffered from other drawbacks, including poor endurance, limited speed, mechanical unreliability, and vulnerability to British 2-pounder guns at ranges where its main gun could be effective. Despite being designed to carry a radio, production vehicles were not equipped with one. The M1139's hull was later modified for use in its successor, the Fiat M1340, which had a main gun in the turret. As a temporary measure, an order of 100 M11s were placed. So this is a really cool looking tank. I'll give it that. Like, style points, it's up there. I don't know why. It looks cool. And if you want to build one,
It reminds me a lot of Japanese armor, like the Type 97.
I think they shared designs by the looks of it. You look at it.
It
it's
looks
similar.
a lot like it. It's like if you got the family together and like your distant cousin came over, that's your distant cousin, and you're the Type 97. Like,
yeah, you're sitting there going, we're related somehow.
Mom, Dad.
So if you want to buy one of these, if you want to make one, it seems like a company, Corazetti, makes these in 1/35th. These are resin kits. They're resin kits. So don't know how good they are. I mean, I've seen a few of these built up, and they look all right. So, but of course,
Be interesting.
there are a lot of marking for these ones. Of course, you got the classic sort of desert green and camo, but also the Aussies captured a lot of Italian tanks, and their signature was to put giant white kangaroos on front, back, and sides of all
Oh
the
my
captured
God.
tanks to really make sure that the Americans didn't shoot them.
And they
Do
probably
you have a
shot them
picture of
anyways.
these?
Pardon?
First off, yeah, we shot at them because fuck it, why not? Second off, do you have a picture of that? Because that'd be fucking dope.
Hey, Dennis, tell me he's not looking at the slides without telling me he's not looking at the slides.
He's
I
not
don't
looking
see
at
a
the slides.
kangaroo, dude.
He's not looking
Okay,
at the
to be fair, I'm like 5 feet away from the computer. I'm looking at it, and
Top
hang on.
left. The top left one. You can see the giant white kangaroo.
Okay. At like 5 feet away, I couldn't see him. Didn't have my glasses on. Okay.
His
Sorry.
glasses. You have glasses, dude?
How have you not known this?
What?
Dude, there's no fucking way you haven't. You knew
Hey.
I had glasses, Callum, right?
Yeah, I've seen you wear them.
What?
Hang on, you fucking goofball. There's no way.
What?
See,
They
Garrison,
know
though,
you
with
had
that with that eyesight and recognition, you could be an American tanker.
glasses. You could be an A-10 pilot.
If my fucking knees weren't so bad, I could. Alright, let me send this picture to Dennis.
How do you not know he doesn't wear glasses?
I've never seen him wear glasses. I swear.
There's no way.
See, he looks weird to me when he doesn't wear his glasses anymore.
What? You guys are
Yeah.
capaholics.
No, hang on. Fucking send this picture. That's a work in progress picture.
What?
Look at podcast planning.
I'm having an aneurysm. Yes, you do wear glasses. What am I talking about? I'm actually having a
Bro.
stroke, Garrison.
Bro, I was
What?
about to say, bro, what's wrong with you?
What? I'm zooted. Callum, I literally... Wow. Okay.
A lot of my time in the Marine Corps, like when I'm in the field, where a lot of my pictures were taken, I didn't wear glasses. So maybe that's why, but I have a lot of pictures on my Instagram of me wearing glasses.
Wow.
Like a lot.
How... I guess I've always pictured you without them, even though I see you with them.
Maybe.
Anyways, you missed the kangaroos, so you would make an amazing A-10 pilot.
Plane go brrrr. The highway of death, anyone? I'm sorry. That's fucked up. American war crimes that no one paid for. It's fucked up.
Okay.
But it's funny.
We'll move on to the next one. So up next, we start seeing a more contemporary tank design. So this is the M1340. So this was intended to replace the M1139 within the army. It served as the primary tank throughout the war, and of course had the influence of the British Vickers 6-ton. It's got the same sort of style to it. It was constructed using riveted steel plates with the armor distribution as follows: 30 millimeters on the front, 42 on the turret front, 25 on the sides, which is a notable improvement over the M11 with only 15 millimeters, 6 millimeters on the bottom, which means if it went over even something like a bloody an anti-infantry mine, it was going to go up, and 15 millimeters on the top. The crew, consisting of 4 members, occupied a forward fighting compartment. So the tank utilized a running gear derived from Vickers, featuring 2 bogie trucks with 8 pairs of small wheels on each side and employing leaf spring suspension. The tracks were conventional skeleton steel plate links and relatively narrow, producing designed to provide mobility in mountainous terrain, although it proved less effective in the desert where the M13s were deployed. The tank was powered by a 125 horsepower diesel engine, which was an innovative choice, offering cost efficiency, extended range, and reduced fire risk compared to petrol engines, a feature not yet adopted by many countries at the time. Primary armament was the 47mm gun, adapted from the successful Canon DA 47-32 M35 anti-tank gun and mounted on the tank. This gun could penetrate approximately 45 millimeters of armor, or 1.8 inches, at a distance of 500 meters, or 550 yards, effectively dealing with British light tanks and cruiser tanks, but falling short against heavier infantry tanks. The M13 carried 104 rounds of mixed ammo, including armor-piercing and high explosive. Additionally, the tank was equipped with 3 or 4 machine guns, 1 coaxial in the main gun, and 2 mounted in a front ball mount. In some cases, a 4th machine gun was affixed to the turret roof for anti-aircraft purposes. The tank featured 2 periscopes, 1 for the gunner, 1 for the commander, and was equipped with a Magneti Marelli RF-1CA radio as standard equipment. So we're finally starting to get into more contemporary tank design for the Italians. I will say, the 47mm guns that the Italians had for the time of these low caliber guns was actually ranked second in effectiveness. It was better than the German 37, not quite as good as the British 2-pounder. If the 2-pounder was using the British APCR rounds, but their guns, their anti-tank guns, were quite capable. So you're starting to the Italian tanks are starting to get a bit more formidable. There are still a lot of flaws, mainly in steel, mainly in the armor, and it's not because of armor thickness, but because Italy at the time was less population, less resources, all of that, especially after the First World War. Their production was lacking. So trying to get decent industry going and stuff like that. So they didn't have the best at steel refinement and stuff like that. So a lot of their steel ended up with high concentrations of sulfur.
Uh-oh.
So Dennis knows where this is going. Eh?
Oh, no. I know enough metallurgy to know how this is going to go.
So the Italian steel ended up being very, very brittle. And if it was, there's photos of penetrations, like when an Italian tank gets hit, and the entire armor plate just cracks.
Oh.
I mean, I'll see if I can. I'll need to find one. I'll see if I can do it real quickly. But yeah, their armor was incredibly fragile and brittle, and it was. They get hit and they just crack all over the place. It wasn't that good. Their guns were good, but yeah, I'll need to find one, and I'll send the photo to you guys, and I'll post it on the episode when I edit it. But it's pretty impressive. Now, if you want to build an M1340, well, we have a Tamiya one, and this isn't a I think this is one of their own ones. This isn't an artillery combination, is it, Dennis?
I
don't think it
know.
is.
I think Tamiya may have done a new tool on this, and the only reason why I say it is because I think some parts of this got used for their Semavante. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's this weird overlap where usually they will say if on the box if it's an Italian collaboration, and I can't make it out here. I assume it's Italian because there's no way that Tamiya would just have an aluminum gun barrel and photo etch parts if it wasn't an Italian collab and they were trying to spice it up.
Yeah.
How much do you think it runs for?
$50.
Yeah.
One must imagine this kit to be an Italian tragedy.
You'd think it is. Yeah. I really want to get one of these though, just so I could make an Australian captured. I just want to paint giant.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool to do one with like the broken plate, like you're talking about.
I was actually thinking that because that wouldn't actually be too difficult to model. You just need to do just basically rescribe, like using a rescribing tool or something like that, and you just really dig into it, and then if you just highlight it, pin wash it heavily, you'll probably get that effect of a cracked plate.
Which would be awesome.
Either that, or you just cut it up and then just put it back together, but wrong. That might do the trick. It'll be interesting. I wouldn't mind trying that. I want to try that.
And these were used in North Africa, so I mean,
yep,
it'd be pretty dope to do like it's sitting in behind a berm, knocked out, and with a couple of troops walking next to it.
That was probably the main theme of that tank during the war.
Hey, keeping it historically accurate.
Just in its natural place. Okay, so we'll go on to the next iteration of this, and that is the M1441. Now, there's not a lot to say about this one. It's basically the M1340, but just with some tweaks to it. So we'll go over that. So the M1441 represented a modest upgrade over the prior M1340, featuring a more potent diesel engine. Despite its production, it was deemed outdated upon introduction. Utilizing the same chassis as the 1340, the M1441 boasted an improved hull design with an enhanced armor. Production of the M1441 occurred during 1941 to 1942, resulting in the manufacture of nearly 800 units by the conclusion of the
Holy
production.
shit!
That's actually pretty fast. 800 tanks in a year.
800 for not only just Italy alone, but with everything else they needed steel for. They got 800 of these a year. That's fucking good.
Yeah.
Hey, good for them, you fucking Italians.
The Italians working hard.
Italians! Them damn.
So the M1441 saw its initial deployment during the North Africa campaign.
Of course it did.
It gained a reputation for being both unreliable and cramped. It was prone to catching fire when struck.
The T-72's forebearer.
After the Italian forces retreated from North Africa, encounters with the 1441 became infrequent. However, many captured 1441 tanks were utilised by both British and Australian forces to address the severe shortage of Allied tanks. These captured vehicles, though pressed into Allied service, had short-lived tenure before being replaced. So even the Allies didn't want them. I will say the bottom left one, that one's the one in Bovington. I've seen that one in real life. It's pretty neat.
How tall is that thing compared to you?
About 1.1 columbi. It's not too big. Not the biggest, but I really want to replicate. I really want to, on my Simavante, I really want to replicate that sort of blended armor, camo. It looks really cool. It seems like a bit of a challenge to try and do, but if you do it, it looks cool. And of course, if you want to build your own, you just have Italeri. Those come with 4 figures. Don't know if you'd want it though.
I hate that you guys are getting me more interested in the African campaign because
this is getting pretty interesting. Ooh, I see resin. Maybe that's not resin. It looks resin. I see metal barrel.
Ah, this one. Okay, up next we have basically the big brother to the last 2 tanks. We have the M1542. Of course, M15 being medium, 15 tons, made in 1942. So this was the final medium tank manufactured by Italy during the Second World War. They had a lot. There were a few later on that are just prototypes, but this was like the last main one they made. Drew inspiration from earlier M1340 and 1441 medium tanks, incorporating lessons learned from North African campaign. This tank was designed to act as a temporary solution until larger numbers of the heavier P2640 heavy tank could be produced. Interestingly, the 1542 did not see service in North Africa, the theatre for which it was originally intended, but it instead operated in Italy and Yugoslavia alongside the German Wehrmacht.
Oh, Yugoslavia one would be awesome.
Yeah.
If it were like stuck in a bog.
Yeah. Recognizing the shortcomings of their 1340 and 1441 medium tanks, the Italian army sought out interim solution until the heavier P2640 was ready. So the M1340 and 1441, while comparable to many of their early British and Allied counterparts, exhibited significant deficiencies that rendered them ill-suited for desert warfare in North Africa. Tell me, was there a single fucking tank that was put in North Africa that was suited for North Africa? I don't think there was a single one.
No.
I
mean, think about it. Think about it. When you're making military equipment to go fight, do you think of, oh, yeah, we'll be fighting in the desert over absolutely nothing? No, you don't.
50-degree heat and all of that? No.
But you find yourself there, apparently. Fucking politicians.
But I'm pretty sure, like, when they say, oh, this tank was ill-suited for the desert, and this one was, they all are. Tanks and desert do not mix.
Tanks. Desert and anything just don't fucking mix, bro.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Okay, Anakin.
So, furthermore, their armament, although adequate against most medium tanks, proved ineffective against the heavily armored British tanks in North Africa at the time.
Get fucked.
Wow, Matilda 2. Fucking, the Germans didn't have the 88, man. If they didn't have the 88, they would have been rolled.
Yeah, but they did.
So in early 1941, Italy attempted to develop the 1643 Saharan fast medium tank, inspired by the design of a captured British A-15 Crusader tank. Although the prototype performed well in tests, the project was abandoned in 1943 as Italy had lost its North African territories and no longer required a fast desert tank. During the M1643's development, the Germans offered to license produce their Panzer III and Panzer IV medium tanks, provided they supplied half the required resources and all the tank's guns and sights. Italy declined the offer, opting instead for an enhanced version of their M1441. This upgraded tank, 12 centimeters longer than the original 1441, featured a new gun initially intended for the M1643, a gasoline engine. This was chosen due to diesel fuel shortage in Italy at the time, and a new transmission. Officially named the Carro Armato M1542, it incorporated lessons learnt from basically everything. However, delays in developing the tank's main gun and ammo meant it couldn't enter production until January 1st, 1943, rendering it outdated by then. The primary armament featured an upgraded 47mm L32 main gun, known as the 47L40, mounted on a fully rotating electrically driven turret with an elevation of 20 degrees and a depression of 10 degrees.
Oh, nice.
It's actually not, for that kind of thing, it's not bad. The Italians got some things right. This primary, this gun could fire hollow charge, high explosive, and armor-piercing rounds. Additionally, the tank was equipped with 5 Breda 38 machine guns, 2 in the hull, 2 in a coaxial mount, and one on the top of the tank for an aircraft mount. That's pretty good.
I'd use it in War Thunder.
It's not a bad-looking tank as well. I'll give it that. It's actually quite a good-looking tank.
I mean, to be fair, they took, references from the Brits. No, nothing. Okay.
No.
I guess I'll go fuck myself.
Do it.
Well, you do that all day.
No, I got a person for that. It's supposed to be an Abraham Lincoln joke from Family Guy. No, nothing.
Oh, boy, that
Walks up to the fence.
I know that's good though. I like that. I used to have a guy for that. Dick. So if you want to build one of these in 35th, so that one up top left, that is from Brack. Is it Brack model? Yeah. So that's actually quite a good looking kit there. I mean, it's got a metal barrel. That's, what more do you need?
It does look like a nice little kit.
So up next, we start getting into the
Panther.
That's literally what I was thinking. Like a Sharpie 1 had sex with like a Panzer 2, and voila!
So what we're looking at is the Carro Armato P2640. So this is Italy's first their attempt at a heavy tank. It's kind of a sort of but it's a weird mix of heavy medium, but they called it heavy. So the P2640 was a heavy medium tank armed with a 75mm gun and 8mm Bredas. And of course it had anti-aircraft mounts and stuff like that. So only a few of these were constructed at the time before Italy signed the armistice and switched sides. So basically every P40 you see has got German markings because the Germans took them whilst they retreated. So in 1940, development work commenced on the P-26 tank, driven by Benito Mussolini's specific orders. Initially, the requirements called for a 20-ton tank, the maximum load allowable for pontoon bridges, armed with a 47mm gun, 3 machine guns, and a crew of 5. However, this was quickly replaced by a 25-ton design, which was to be named the P-26. Development progressed rapidly, except for the engine selection. The Italian military, the Stato Maggiore, preferred a diesel engine, while the manufacturer favoured a petrol engine. Unfortunately, in Italy, neither petrol nor engine. Unfortunately, in Italy, neither diesel nor petrol engines capable of generating the required 300 horsepower were available at the time. Unlike US and British tank manufacturers, who who used readily available aircraft engines for their tanks, the Italian tank industry, dominated by Fiat and Soldo, did not adopt this approach. The process of designing the new engine was sluggish, and eventually a 420 horsepower petrol engine, the Fiat 262, was tested, although it was ultimately not chosen. Initially referred to as the P75, indicating the gun's caliber, the first design, with a prototype ready by mid 1941, resembled an enlarged M1340 tank armed with a 75 18 howitzer, similar to the one on the Semovante 7518, and featuring increased armor. This prototype underwent modifications, replacing the main gun with a 75 32 gun, accompanied by a coaxial machine gun. In 1941, after discovering Soviet T-34 tanks, influenced by a captured tank supplied by the Germans, the design underwent significant changes. The armor was swiftly increased with more slope plates reaching 50 millimeters on the front and 40 on the sides. The new 75 34 gun was adopted, and dual barbette mounted in the hull was removed. The 75 34 design indicated a 75mm bore diameter gun with a length equal to 34 calibers. However, the weight increase, reaching 26 tons, and the challenge of finding a suitable engine further delayed mass production. Ultimately, it was decided that the prototype and early production models would be equipped with a 330 horsepower SPA 8V V8 diesel engine, later replaced by a 420 horsepower petrol. Before the Italian armistice in September 1943, only a few pre-production models, between 1 and 5, depending on the source, were completed. These tanks were subsequently taken over by the German Wehrmacht, and some were used in combat under the German designation of Panzerkampfwagen P40 737I for Italy, including at never mind. Others lacking engines were employed as stationary strong points. So, again, if you want to make one of these, just turn to Tamiya Italian. They produce one that has German markings and a very, very cool camouflage.
That
That's
reminds me
actually
a
really
lot
cool.
of the what do you call it? The late 44, early 45 German tricolor.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, that you can definitely see the T-34.
influence.
Oh yeah, 100. Like especially that driver's hatch alone. Like I saw that and I was like, ooh, I
Yeah.
wonder if this was
Plus,
influenced.
you got the sloping. You got even where the turret is placed in the design of the turret. It's it is definitely the Italian T-34. Like, and it looks cool. It's a great looking tank. I think
Yeah.
that is really cool. Okay, so we're going to get into a couple of the experimental tanks before we look at
EMP.
other variants.
Wait, no, that's
Pardon?
Crusader.
So up next we have the Caro Amato M Soleri Sarahino, the Fiat M1643, the Saharan cruiser tank that we were talking about earlier. And you can definitely see Crusader elements within it.
Yeah.
So this was known as the Fiat M1643, was a prototype medium tank developed by Italy. Its purpose was to match the speed and firepower of contemporary British cruiser tanks encountered. The project was cancelled after Axis forces were expelled from North Africa. If it had entered service, the tank would have likely been designated as M1643. In early 1941, the Italian army tasked Fiat and Saldo with creating a low-profile tank weighing 15 to 16 metric tons to counter the Swift A13 series of tanks typified by the Crusader tank. Fiat initiated the project in June 1941, starting with a wooden mock-up on an M1441 medium tank chassis. They angled the tank's armor plates to form a glacis. Unlike welded counterparts from other nations, the tank's armor remained bolted and generally thinner, in line with other Italian tanks of the era. Various engines, including aircraft engines powered by petrol, were tested on the chassis before the development of the Sarahino tank was halted. At the time of cancellation, a 275 horsepower gasoline engine was under assessment. The Sarahino featured an elongated M1441 turret housing and a 47mm 47-40 L40 gun. which was also intended for use in the M1542 medium. Plans included fitting a 75mm gun on the production model. Notably, the Sararino, whatever, was the first Italian tank to incorporate a torsion bar suspension system, a more robust and faster suspension system compared to the leaf spring bogies. Ansaldo adopted the Sararino's suspension system from British tanks encountered in North Africa and a captured Soviet BT-5 from the Spanish Civil War. By the project's cancellation, the design closely resembled British counterparts, but had a notably lower profile, enhancing concealment and making it a more challenging target to hit. Several factors contributed to the project's termination: the simultaneous development of the Caro Amato P40 heavy tank, the strain of introducing a new tank amid an already weakened Italian industrial base, the potential for licensed production of foreign tanks like the Czechoslovakian T-21 medium tank, and most of it, significantly, Italy's loss of its Libya colony, rendering the need for a fast tank obsolete. Unfortunately, if you want to build one of these, I can't find one. I can't find a model kit for this anywhere.
That's kind of a shame because it looks pretty fucking dope.
Yeah,
Like it looks like an M21, but like longer and wider.
yeah, it is definitely looks Crusader, but like way lower. That is a low profile tank. It is cool.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. What do you think, Dennis?
I think that Callum, you've got a 3D printer. Be the change you want to see in the world.
I don't know how to 3D design shit.
That's okay. You were able to make a rocket launcher. I'm sure this won't be any harder.
I've actually changed those designs a bit, and I've gone with something else someone else has designed, but it looks cool. I can't get it to print right at the moment. All right, we'll go on to
what? This looks like a leopard, dude.
It does, like a leopard. What the fuck?
What?
So, for the last of the contemporary tank designs, up next we're just going to go through quickly the tank destroyers because they are cool as fuck. But before then, we have the P-43.
Callum, I just want to say real quick.
Yep.
This isn't a tank destroyer. This is a fucking Leopard 1 before puberty hit.
Yeah, no, this is a heavy tank that they were designing but never went anywhere.
Oh, it went somewhere. It just, took till the 80s to get it.
So the P-43, also known as the P-30-43, was developed concurrently with the P-2640. It was intended to be a heavier version of the P-2640. The planned weight of the vehicle was 30 tons, and it was designed to be equipped with a 420 horsepower engine. The main gun was the same as the P-26, the 75-34mm. During the design phase, there were proposals to use the 90-42 gun, which was derived from the anti-aircraft Canon de 90-43, or the 105-25mm cannon found in the Semovante DA-105-25. A photograph of a wooden model of the P-43, likely on a smaller scale, exists alongside other models of the P-40 and 43 bis. The P-43 bis was designed to weigh 30 tons and featured a cannon that appeared to be a lighter version of the 90-53. In the same image, there is a model of a smaller German Panther variant equipped with what seems to be a 90-53 cannon. The Germanic part labeled this as a copy of the Panther tank, which Italy had received blueprints for licensed production. This model was designated as a P-43 bis, possibly because there were challenges in quickly transitioning to the production of the P-43 with a 90mm gun. This convergence of research could have been influenced either by reports from the Russian front about the new Soviet medium tank T-34-85, weighing 32 tons and armed with an 85mm cannon, derived from an anti-aircraft gun, and the availability of data and drawings of the German Panther. According to various sources, the proposed engines for these tanks were as followed. The P-2640 was a diesel engine with 330 horsepower, later replaced with a 420 horsepower gasoline. The P-30-43, or 43 is what we're looking at now, was to be equipped with a 420 or 430 horsepower V12. The BIS had the same engine, and the P-35-43, or second P-33, P-30, P-43
Words,
bis,
words.
or the Panther derivative, was weighing 35 tons, armed with a 1953 or 1942 millimeter gun, and powered with a 470 or 480 horsepower engine copied from the Russian T-34 engine. Frontal protection of had they had frontal protection of 80 to 100 millimeters of armor, and was intended to provide similar performance to tanks designed of other nations. For instance, it would match the Russian 1944 IS-2 and the Tiger 1, and surpass the Panther, which had 80 millimeters of armor. There is
I.
only Yep.
Sorry, good. No, go. Sorry, you're done.
I
Sorry.
was going to say, if you want to build one of these, there is only one that I could find, and it is by Rubicon Models in 1 to 56.
Oh
But
god,
that's about it.
What?
That's bad. Rubicon models, dude. Oh god,
Have you tried a Rubicon?
it's it's like the detail of a 1 to 144 scale kit, but with the size of a 1 to 56 scale. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Basic, then.
Yes, just very basic, not well engineered.
As basic as Garrison with a pumpkin spice latte.
You know it.
But yeah, this is a cool looking tank though.
It does
the
look
bottom-
very cool.
The bottom
I love
left
how
I
photo
Italians
is like
never don't. They always go for the rivets, you know. Good for
the
them.
rivets. I like
I
the
think
rivets.
it looks nice. Like
Yeah,
this
the
shit's
rivets really
fucking
do add to
tits.
Yeah, it looks almost Leopard 1,
Yeah,
It does look like a leopard one. I think that's why I like it.
like Leopard 1 with a bogey system. That's what it is. All right, so we'll just go through the. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What
We've got
the
seven left. Then we'll have a quick break. So we'll
Callum,
get
it's
into
been
the
2 hours, my guy. How many
1 hour.
Italian takes are there?
It's just 1 hour.
Oh yeah, actually, I lie.
Yeah, and also there's only so this is just like tank destroyer derivatives, and there's not a lot to say about them, so it's fine.
No, these are the interesting ones, dude.
I know. So up first we have the Semovante DA 4732. Okay, pop quiz. What's this one a derivative of?
Uh,
I forgot the name
the,
of it.
the
but
Brent
it
carrier.
has like 2 guns. No. It's a little Italian thingy. It has 2 fucking weapons on the front. God damn it.
The knockoff Brent carrier.
It's a War Thunder meme.
Wait, is it the L-33?
So this is based on the chassis of the L6. So the one that looks like the Stuart. Mainly, you can tell by the bogey system. Like, look at the swing arms on those.
Those are. I like. They look very Art Deco. I like them.
I know. It's got the nice curves to it. So this is the Semovante L40 DA 47-32. It featured a Canon DA 47-32 anti-tank gun mounted in an open-topped box-like structure placed on an L640 light tank. Some of these units were configured as command tanks, equipped with a radio instead of the main tank. Instead of the main gun, as you can see on the right there, there's a command one. To maintain the appearance of regular Semovante 4732s, an 8mm machine gun was camouflaged as the 47mm main gun. Approximately
Oh,
4.
nice.
So there's an 8mm in that fucking gun housing. Approximately 400 Semovante 4732s were manufactured starting in 1941. The Semovante 4732 represented the most heavily armed Italian armored vehicle deployed on the Eastern Front. That's one thing a lot of people forget. Italians fought against the Soviets. That's
Yeah, I
weird.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's weird to think about, but yeah, they were there. While the 47mm gun was sufficient in combat for 1941, by the time the Semovante saw action, it had become outdated and ineffective against medium tanks used by the enemy. Consequently, the vehicle did not achieve significant success. Following the Italian armistice in September 1943, the German army seized as many Semovante 4732s as possible for their own use. These vehicles were designated as Stug L647-32630I
You
by the
lost me at
Germans.
Stug.
Yeah, I know. Some were supplied to Germany's Croatian puppet state and Slovene home guard. You know what we should do? Send Ezra one of these and say, "Hey, we bought you a Stug," and send him that. It is a cool looking tank destroyer though.
It is pretty neat looking.
Like especially like you don't see it with like you can't really see the scale of it until you see the box art. If you want to build one of these, Artillery make one of these in 35th, and it just looks so cool. With like that guy just looks so big inside it. Like
I'm about to say that thing looks tiny.
it looks like you know those little cars that you can buy like toddlers to drive around in. It looks like one of
Yes.
those.
I think this is just really cute. I like how small the gun is. It's
Yeah.
nice. It's tidy.
Yeah. It's a
Pew
neat
pew
looking tank.
pew pew.
It's the kind of thing you would see in very low intensity conflicts, and I just like those. They're fun.
Yeah.
Everyone comes out,
They're
they have a great
fun.
time. Fun for all involved, yep.
It looks like they would shake hands at the end of the battle.
Exactly. It's the kind of thing that you would see in a gentlemanly conflict between Italy and Britain.
Yeah, it would be like they'll run out of ammo and just be like, right, same time tomorrow. Okay, we'll go to the next one. The Semavante 7518. So this one was made. This one was made on the three medium chassis. So we got the M1542, 1340, and the 1441. So just like this covers all of those. So this self-propelled gun featured robust riveted steel plates with increased thickness compared to the original tank, 50 millimeters versus 42. The frontal armor was nearly vertical, consisting of two plates that provided enhanced protection compared to a single homogeneous steel plate. So by that reasoning, there should be a gap in between them, so that's like anti-heat, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I doubt it would do much, but by 50 millimeters, like the explosion from the heat round would probably deal with that. The vehicle's layout positioned the crew compartment and drive section forward within a spacious and low-profile casemate. That sounds like a car advertisement. The engine was located behind the crew, housed in a separate, slightly smaller structure with a sloped design and inspection panels on the roof, a characteristic feature of Italian tank designs. The chassis mirrored that of the M1340 tanks, featuring 8 small wheels grouped in 4 trolleys, connected in pairs by 2 arms. So the primary armament was a variant of the 75mm L18 gun, with an 18 caliber barrel offering a 40-degree traverse and an elevation range of -12 plus 22. -12 degrees elevation. You get that thing hulled down, that's going to be a prick and a half. That's good. Like, yeah.
I've seen actually there was a kind of a resin kit for doing it in 35th scale, and it was basically the roof of this with the gun, and it was buried in sand. So what you got was basically the groundwork, and then just out of nowhere, there's this little box popping up.
Mm.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the Italian tanks and whatnot. They just have these little things. Are like, fuck, that's really good. The rest of shit, but that one was good. Okay, equipped with a muzzle brake,
sorry.
the gun. Oh, sorry. Were you about to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Equipped with a muzzle brake, the gun was complemented by various observation and aiming systems, such as binoculars and periscopes, to aid the crew. Due to its relatively low muzzle velocity of around 450 meters a second, the gun had a somewhat limited range, typically around 7 to 8 kilometers, especially when firing at higher elevations, like 45 degrees. In direct fire mode, the range was further constrained, particularly against moving targets due to its limited elevation angle of 22 degrees. For close defense, the vehicle usually featured a single roof-mounted machine gun, initially a 6.5 Braider, later upgraded to an 8mm. The standard ammo load included 44 rounds of 75mm shells and 1,108 rounds of 8mm.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that's a lot. Oddly specific as well. 1,108. All right.
Make sure you get the last 8 rounds in there, god damn it.
We'll fit them somewhere. Some crews in the North African theatre stored up to 100 shells by removing their seats and utilizing the available space.
Oh, yes, because those additional ones will make a whole lot of a difference.
Well, I mean, you go from 44 rounds to 100 rounds.
That's pretty decent.
With your minus 12 depression and hull down, you could probably hold out for a long time. So it makes sense.
The Royal Air Force wants to know your exact location.
A model RF1CA was an interphone radio was typically installed. If you want to make one of these, all you got is Italeri.
It is actually a pretty decent kit, though, I will say.
Is it?
I mean, apart from the vinyl tracks, which you might want to find 3D printed alternatives for, it's actually like it's got a full interior in it. It's got photo etch. It's not bad. Could be worse.
So we'll go to the next one, the Semovante 7534.
Ooh.
So like the last one, it featured the same 75. No, it's not the same. It featured a 75mm L34 gun mounted on the M1542 tank chassis. This vehicle played a role in defending Rome in 1943 and subsequently served with the German forces in northern Italy and the Balkans. A total of 170 units were manufactured during the war, with 60 being M42 variants produced before the armistice of Cassabile, whatever, in September 1943. An additional 110 M42 M43 variants produced under German control. Following the success of the Semovante 7518, there was a decision to create a vehicle with an improved gun to enhance its anti-tank capabilities, as the former relied on heat shells. Several prototypes were constructed, replacing the 7518 with a 75mm L32 field gun on the M1441 tank chassis. Production commenced in spring of 43 using the chassis of the M1542 tank with the 75mm, which was the same that was used in the P40, as we were talking about before. Approximately 60 of these vehicles were manufactured before the Italians switched sides. Derived from the earlier Semovante, it featured some differences. Unlike the two conjoined plates, each 21mm thick, found on the earlier version, the frontal plate consisted of a single 42mm thick plate. Additionally, the casemate was adapted to accommodate the longer gun. Powered by the same 192 horsepower petrol engine, it offered a respectable top speed of 38.4 kilometers an hour. If you want to build one of these, Tamiya have one of their Italeri partnerships, and that is the kit I bought at the New Zealand IPMS Nationals.
Oh, really?
Got it for $50.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, can't wait to get into that one. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. This one
it's a tortoise.
really cool.
Wow.
The later Italian tank designs are freaking cool. Like
and they still can't get their heads over around just like having thicker tracks.
Yeah, they really didn't like them.
No.
So this cool looking thing is the Semovante 7546. So following the armistice signed in 43, northern and central Italy came under German control. In 1944, due to the evolving war situation, they commissioned a new Italian armoured vehicle designed for tank combat, based on the Semovante DA 105-25 self-propelled gun, which we'll be talking about in a sec. However, this resulted in the Semovante 7546, which the Germans designated as the Sturmgewehr M43 mit 7546 852I. God, the Germans are just as bad as the Americans and British. In accordance with the naming
tank
convention.
naming people just need a new job.
Yeah, clearly they're bored. So the 7546 retained the same M43 hull as the Semovante 105-25. However, it replaced the 105mm L25 howitzer with a longer 75-46 Modello 34. Originally designed as an anti-aircraft gun, it also served as an anti-tank weapon, offering a high muzzle velocity, 750 meters a second compared to the 510, and an extended effective range capable of firing a 6.5 kilo shell up to 13 kilometers away. This versatile gun could be loaded with high explosive or armor piercing. When equipped with the latter, it could penetrate up to 90 millimeters of armor from a distance of 500 meters. Another significant difference from its predecessor was the overall increase in armor protection. Slope plates were added to the casemate, and additional armor was applied to the sides above the tracks. These enhancements, along with its origins, classify the 75-46 as a full-fledged tank destroyer. And if you want to build one of these, BRAC model does it in 72nd. I wish they did it in 35th, though. It is, again, awesome looking tank destroyer.
Definitely interesting.
Yeah. And don't worry, we only have 3 left. Then I'll shut up for a while.
This is like Waffentrager.
Yes.
Oh.
What
I
the
don't-
fuck?
I love the look of these kind of tank destroyers. They're just
This
so
one
cool.
is like fully embracing the whole self-propelled gun idea. Like, it is not something that can fire on the move. It's a weapon to maneuver. You drive it to a spot, park it, get it out, and you just chill there for a few days.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the Semovante 9053. So the 1953 was designed by mounting a 90mm Canonad 9053 anti-aircraft gun on a large chassis based on the M1441 tank. Production of this vehicle was limited, with only 30 units manufactured, all in 1942. This low production rate was due to Italy's limited industrial capacity at the time and a high demand for the 90mm gun for anti-aircraft duties. The primary motivation behind developing the 9053 was the request from Italian forces on the Eastern Front for a vehicle-mounted anti-tank weapon capable of engaging Soviet T-34 and KV tanks. Italian armoured units on the Eastern Front were equipped solely with the L640 tank and the Semovante 4732 self-propelled gun, neither of which had the firepower to effectively counter Soviet medium and heavy tanks. Surprisingly, despite the demand, no Semovante 9053 vehicles were deployed to the Eastern Front. One significant drawback of the Semovante 1953, common to many World War II self-propelled gun types, was its open top and rear gun compartment, which exposed the gun crew to shrapnel and small arms fire. Additionally, the vehicle had minimal armor protection in most areas. Initially, it was not seen as a major issue because these vehicles were designed to operate at a distance from enemy tanks, minimizing the risk of incoming fire. The limited ammunition. Pardon?
Airburst is typing.
More like Willie Pete. The limited ammunition capacity of the vehicle, only 8 rounds, posed another challenge. To address this, special ammunition carriers were created using the Fiat L640 tanks, with one accompanying each Semovante 9053 in the field. These L6 ammo carriers could transport 26 rounds and an additional 40 rounds in a trailer. In addition to standard armor-piercing rounds, the 9053 could fire heat rounds with shape charges capable of penetrating 200 millimeters of plate armor at any range. Again, BRAC models, they have it in 1 to 35, is a full resin kit with decals, photo etch, and a metal barrel. 2 left. Up next, we have the
What?
It looks like someone just whacked it with a frying pan.
You're so fucking right. Holy shit.
So this is the Semovante 105-25.
Bonk.
It looks like it's been run over. So the Ansaldo 105-25 M43, commonly referred to as the Semovante 105-25, was a tank destroyer that stood out as Italy's most potent self-propelled gun, produced in significant quantities. In 1942, efforts to develop a self-propelled gun with significant firepower were launched simultaneously by OTO and Ansaldo. OTO's proposal involved mounting a 105-25 gun on the chassis of a P-2640 tank, while Ansaldo suggested utilizing the existing Semovante M42 chassis. Ansaldo managed to present its prototype to the Central Studi del... the guys in charge, on February 28, 1943, ahead of OTO, which is still in the development stage. The Royal Italian Army approved the production of Ansaldo's proposal in its final form, featuring an improved hull and a 105-25 gun, It was officially adopted on April 2nd, 1943, as the self-propelled M43 105-25, known as Basotto or Dutch Hound, because it's so squished.
Dutch Hound.
The first units to be equipped with the Basotto were the DCI and DCII groups of the 235th Semoventi Artillery Regiment of the 135th Armour Division. Each group received 12 units, and these vehicles played a commendable role in defending Rome in the days following the armistice. After Italy surrendered, the German forces, recognizing the effectiveness of the Semovente 105-25 Basotto, captured and operated them, building an additional 91 units under the name Stug M43 MIT 105-25 853I.
Which translate to Squishy Boy.
Yes, for the use against the Anglo-American forces. Additionally, the 105-25 cannon was employed in bunkers as part of the defensive fortifications of the Vallo Alpino. And if you want one of these BRAC models again in 1/72nd, if this came in 1/35th, I'd take it.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's so stupid looking. You just gotta build it.
Yeah.
Woz would love this kit, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Although, can you imagine doing that camo scheme in 72nd?
Oh,
No.
God.
You would have to brush paint it. There's no way.
Yeah. That's. And for the last one, finally. You guys are probably sick of listening to me.
I'm actually
Perfect.
glad you're going
Yeah,
on because it's a log top.
It's wear armor.
So this is a self-propelled gun. This is the Semovente 149-40, and if we follow the naming, no, this one doesn't do the self-propelled guns didn't follow the standard tanks. You know, the tanks were, medium, light, tons, and time. The tank destroyers, the first number, that's its caliber. So this is a 149 millimeter gun. The Italian
It's
army.
beautiful.
It's a great looking self SPG, isn't it? Especially when it's deployed, when it's got the
When
what are
it's
these things?
erected.
The what?
When it's erected.
What are the things that they deploy, the bucket or scoop or whatever, the blade, stop them from
legs.
firing themselves backwards?
The legs.
Yeah, whatever they are. Looks cool. So the Italian army closely followed the Germans in recognizing the need for assault guns and developed a series of vehicles that bore a striking resemblance to the Stug 3, the ones we've just covered. These Italian assault guns were manufactured in significant quantities because they offered better armor and quicker production compared to the contemporary Italian tanks. However, by the time a substantial number of them were deployed, Italy had effectively withdrawn from the war, leading to most of these guns falling into German hands. The majority of these Semovente were equipped with 75 and 105 guns and howitzers, primarily designed for direct fire engagements. Nevertheless, the Italian artillery forces still required self-propelled artillery to support their armored units. In response, Ansaldo redirected some of its development resources to create a potent artillery piece that could be mounted on a tracked chassis. Ultimately, Ansaldo chose an existing weapon, the Canon 149-40 Modello 35, and adapted it to a highly modified M1542 tank chassis. This equipment selection aimed to achieve the best possible combination of carriage and weapon. However, a significant challenge emerged. The Italian army was in urgent need of both gun and tank in large quantities, and the Italian industry struggled to meet this demand. The introduction of this new weapon, the 149-40, encountered initial difficulties. The 149-40 featured no protection for its crew, as the lengthy gun barrel was mounted on an exposed platform atop a turretless tank chassis.
Fuck yeah.
The gun crew operated in the open with the gun's trunnions placed far in the rear to absorb some of the recoil. It was only in late 1942 that the first prototype was ready for extensive firing trials. However, even before these trials were completed, efforts to commence production were underway. Unfortunately, before production could commence, Italy surrendered to the Allies. The Germans assumed control of whatever remained of the Italian economy. Subsequently, the Semovente 149-40 prototype remained the sole example of what appeared to be a promising design. The Canon 149-40 Modelo 35 had the capability to fire a 46-kilogram shell to a range of 23.7 miles. Jesus. That's 23.7 kilometers.
That's pretty good fucking distance.
25,900 yards, basically. At such distances, the absence of protection for the gun crew became a relatively minor concern. No kidding. And that's it. That's all that the Italians fielded in the way of tracked during the war, except for tankettes. But as I said, that's going to be later. We're going to focus on tankettes because they're really cool little things. But that's it from me. My voice is fucked. We're going to have a quick intermission now.
That was amazing, Callum. Thank you.
It was. That was actually really interesting. dude.
I learned a
Appreciate it.
lot. Okay, so first
Wow.
up, it's a motorcycle from Meng, and it is
Oh,
in
God.
1/9 scale, which is like, dude, make it 1/12 or 1/6, but okay, whatever. So Meng have decided to split the difference and go to 1/9. This is their BMW R1250 GS ADV. This, to put it simply, is basically, in a way, the BMW version of Honda's Africa Twin. It's their adventure bike, so it's got street tires, but also has suspension set up more so for off-roading. As you can see here in the box, you can see kind of like going over hard-packed, off-road terrain. It's really exciting. It looks like it's going to be good. Good to have metal discs for the brakes and all that stuff. The CADs on it look pretty decent, so I think it'll make a nice addition to their 1/9 scale range.
That's good.
Nice.
Ooh, me likey, me wanty. So up next from Meng as well, they're releasing a whole bunch of stuff from the Dune universe. We have the Harkonnen Ornithopter, the Atreides Ornithopter, and the Spice Harvester. I really want one of these. This is so cool that they're deviating into like different sort of sci-fi worlds. Honestly, the Harkonnen Ornithopter I think looks the best. That thing looks just awesome. But yeah, so don't know what scale these are going to be in or anything like that. So we'll just need to keep watching the space.
I am
Okay.
interested to see how this comes out.
Yeah, these will be cool though. From RFM, Riffield Model, they are bringing out an M4A3 76W HVSS early type Thunderbolt 2. So this is the Sherman Thunder. No, this is not Thunderbolt 2. It's Thunderbolt 7.
God damn.
Thunderbolt 7 is a Sherman that has been upgraded. These are all field upgrades, aren't they?
Maybe.
I think it is. Yeah.
It could go either way, honestly.
I think these are field upgrades done by the crew, but it's got like extra plating on the front, on the sides, around the turret. Looks amazing. So this is in 35th scale. I wouldn't mind having one of these.
I just love that final mount 30. That adds so much.
Yeah. I always thought Thunderbolt was one of the few Shermans that had 250 cals on the top. Was that Fireball?
Might have been Fireball.
No.
Fireball was a Pershing. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Up next from Dora Wings in 48th, we have a Republic P-47B Thunderbolt. So this is one of the Razor Thunderbolts. So they're probably just copying Miniart at the moment with their Thunderbolt, although that's the D version with the bubble canopy. So there's a bit of when you ask people which they prefer, the bubble or the Razorback, it's quite an even split on what people like. A lot of people prefer the Razorback Thunderbolts to the bubble, but
Big fan of the Razorback for real.
yeah, I'm more of a bubble canopy one.
Ooh, you like the bubble, eh?
I like the bubble. I prefer the bubble.
He likes a little bit of thickness to it, a little bit of
Hey,
curve.
I like them when they're thick.
Oh God.
Oh, but yeah, that's from Dora Wings, brand new Thunderbolt, Razorback.
Sweet.
How good?
I can't wait
How
for
good
this.
are Dora Wings?
Oh, they're pretty good. I mean, they're short run, but they're pretty detailed.
Nice. They've got some interesting things. Up next from our favourites, Vargas scale models, we have a Nebelwerfer 41. So this is a rocket launcher type thing in 35th scale, 24 parts. resin, 3D printed resin, and it looks pretty good. The test model built by Brad Belsham here looks amazing.
Yeah, that
That's
does look really good.
That's a good model there, but yep, Varga scale models keep keeping things weird with all the lesser known things, and this is one of them. It looks great.
Stay weird.
I'd love to. I'd love to have one of these actually.
Hell yeah.
That's just Horizon Island right there.
HIDF
Fuck yeah,
ship
it
mounted
is.
coastal artillery, but like because it's on a ship, it just keeps bobbing up and down.
No, this is a direct fire.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what's next? From
Ooh.
IBG models, we have the Panzer II Alps B. Comes with a fuel trailer, and this is a cool Panzer II.
Yeah,
got the-
I was about to say this is actually. I know people we hate German shit, but this is something I'd
This
probably
is
build.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's got the sort of Panzer I bogies with the bar that goes across them. That is cool. It's a good looking tank. I actually quite like the Panzer II. It's a nice looking light tank.
Classic.
Yeah. So IBG, you know it's going to be good. So up next we have this is Magic Factory, isn't it?
Yeah, those are the guys who made the Iron Dome and the Corsair.
Yeah, that's right. So they're coming out with a 48 scale. Is it 48?
48, yeah.
48 scale Skyhawk, which a lot of people have been crying out for someone
Floki
to do.
is rubbing his hands together.
Are you sure it's his hands? Oh, but so we're looking at a test model that's been built up, and it looks amazing. I think it's a special type of the Skyhawk, isn't it? Just looking at the
believe
nose,
so.
it's got like a like extra radar or something like that
Yeah,
to it, isn't it?
the spine on the fuselage, I believe, is different.
Yeah, that looks different. And like seeing how the nose folds up, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
If you could
big
position
fan
it
of
like
that.
yeah, I mean, I wonder if imagine if you could like move it so you could position it either or.
I bet if
Um,
you put a
when you
tiny
built it.
engine there, you could do it. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be cool. You just go, hey, look at this. Yep.
unzips his A4.
Oh god.
But yeah, a lot of people have been crying out for a 48 scale Skyhawk, and now they're going to get one. It looks amazing.
Yeah, there was great rejoicing,
Yep.
mostly from Floki.
Yep.
All right, so Arma Hobby is releasing their new Sea Hurricane Mark II C at 1/72 scale. This is following up. They've already done, I believe it was a Sea Hurricane Mark 1, but this version is also their deluxe variant. It comes with 3D printed parts, photo etch decals, and masks. And I've already built their Hurricane Mark II C. It was very nice. So if this is anything similar, I know it's gonna be pretty choice.
I really want that kit.
Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? Anything
I
Fleet
lo-
Air Arm.
I love Fleet Air Arm camo as well.
I can't wait for all the new Seafires that are coming out.
Oh, I know, right? Especially because one of the guys that I follow on Instagram, Mr. Playmo, he did a Seafire.
Oh, he just did one, yeah, and he was
yeah.
doing it against the deadline. Yeah, that looked amazing.
Yeah. I actually saw that in person. Fuck, it looked good.
Oh,
that
I
was
bet.
cool. It was so good, especially with the folded wings. Oh, I think he actually won an award for that.
Well, he
got something
must
for
have. How
Yeah.
could you not?
I know. I think he got something from it.
Amusing Hobby is reboxing their T-72 AV kit, this time as a Ukrainian main battle tank, so this is going to feature new decals for Ukrainian operations.
And a lot of ERA.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that ERA block camouflage type thing, that looks cool.
That looks very nice.
Yes.
Be a bitch
That
to
shit goes
paint,
hard as
but-
fuck.
4 Hobby is coming out with a 1/72 scale HIMARS.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Nice.
nice. We
Knowing that
appreciate a
it'll be
HIMARS.
Loaded with metal parts.
Looks good.
And TACOM is releasing their M29C Weasel. So this is basically a rebox of their previous Weasel kit, but with the addition of the larger flotation gear, so that this can operate in amphibious conditions.
I wonder if they've addressed some of the issues that the first Weasel they produced has.
Unfortunately, I don't believe so. Because as far as I understand, this is literally just that kit, and they add
with
like 2
additions.
sprues.
Yeah. Have you seen Clayton Okapi's
I
video on it?
have. I have.
Oh,
Yes. It's
yeah, that's
It looks nice. I could totally see an HIDF technical coming out of this, but
if you were building it to like a high standard, that would kill you. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that was not good.
TACOM
It's a,
stays losing.
I know. I wish they weren't. I like Tacom for their stuff.
And on that note, let's talk about what we've been working on.
And up first, I finished the newest edition for the Horizon Island Defense Force Engineering Corps Flamethrower Unit. I've been working on this for way too long. Like a year and a half now, but so this is my M113 flamethrower conversion. I will be doing electronics for it and making it spew out fire, but it's been a hot minute since I've wired anything up, and I can't remember how to do things. So yeah, but beyond that, it's going to go on the shelf as is for now, just because I got a lot of things on at the moment, so I can't really spend too much time on this one. So I'm calling this one done for now. But the tank on the trailer, I finally 3D printed, designed it myself, printed it. And I spent all of yesterday painting it, rusting it up, doing all of that. So yeah, pretty happy on how this one came out.
Very good.
Nice.
All right, real quick. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to skip me for now. I'm taking pictures at the moment. Trust me, you'll appreciate the update.
Okay. We'll go to Dennis's then.
Yeah, I've just been working on my Tamiya 1/48 scale Spitfire Mark 1. Painted the figure in a week and then did the entire cockpit in a night. But yeah, so the wings are on it now. Assembly is basically done, and it will soon be time to start painting.
What scale is this one again?
1/48.
Yeah. Is this an Edard kit?
No, this is Tamiya. This is their 2018 new tool.
That's right. Yeah. It comes with the little truck thingy, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's got. I was surprised. It's got raised detail stickers and photo etch.
Really?
Yeah, that's out of the
Damn.
box stock, and it was like $30 for me.
Is that it? Jesus.
Yeah, this is actually all out of the box. Like apart from like the wires I added for the figure zero phones, like it's all stock.
Damn. I'm gonna have to get that.
It's
It's pretty good.
I mean, obviously the Edard kit probably has better detail, but like between all the photo etch on this thing and the raised stickers, like this has reasonably comparable detail, and it's way easier to build. Like
Although
I literally built this. Like the total assembly time, ignoring the painting of the cockpit, is probably about 30-ish minutes.
Jesus, that's not bad. Fuck.
No, not at all.
Of course, you did spend some time putting in your own rivets.
Yeah, I riveted the whole plane, and I still have more to do because I left some areas. So, yeah, don't rivet your planes, boys. Just buy other kits.
Why
The
did
thing
they
is
get?
that like
Does it
none of
get?
these will be visible because you're damn near invisible 1-to-1 scale to begin with.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you end up making rivets oversized just so you can see them, and then it's just
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not doing that again.
rivets on an aircraft are like, unless it's like you're going up to say like even 32 scale, then it's like,
Even then, because on the Spitfire, when I say the rivets are invisible, you go to a real one. I mean, Callum, you've seen them. They literally
they're
are
flush.
flush.
Yeah, they're
And
flush.
under paint, you cannot see them. So
No.
even this is actually like fairly out of scale. But sacrifices for the detail, you know.
Well, by the sounds of it, you enjoyed it, so
Oh, I did, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. I've got a rivet tool that I've never used because I bought one to build aircraft, and I haven't built an aircraft since I came back.
Yeah, I'm using the same one you've got too.
Oh, the trumpeted one.
Yep.
Is it good? Is it a good one?
I mean, it's pretty decent. A little thick to use. Like, I would have preferred having one that's got a smaller wheel that you can see where you're punching the rivets more easily. But yeah,
Ah, right.
yeah,
Okay.
it's reasonable for the price.
Yeah, I think I only picked it up. Got mine for like $15. Although, no, that was £15. I'm lost. Anyway, but no, that's looking cool. Do you know the scheme you're going to go for?
Yeah, I'm going to go with N3200, which was a Spitfire that crash landed on Dunkirk Beach.
Is that the
And
one that ran out of fuel?
yes, and then after a year, it was completely buried under the sand. And then in 1982, they dug it back up somehow, and they restored it to full flying condition.
Jesus, you see that and you're like, how the hell do they get that flying?
How? How? The corrosion alone, what should have eaten the whole plane.
Mm.
But yeah, they made those things to last.
I think what they do for restoration, it's like they basically try and use as many of the original components as possible.
And that's what shocked me because, as far as I understand it, most of the components on N3200 are original.
Really?
They just built things to last back then, I guess.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You know that we're just riffing until Garrison gets his photos up.
Yeah. Keep going.
So I've been watching Rex's Hangar, and he's he's got sponsors.
Oh, we
and
love
stuff.
that. I love that channel. Shout out to Rex.
Yeah, Dad and I watch every single new episode, like every week. Like on Wednesday, my dad comes around for and we just have like guys' night. Beers, bad food, and war documentaries and shit like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, every week it's first thing we watch is Rex's Hangar. There's new episodes. So, but one of his sponsors is a watch. Have you seen that one?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it goes towards the Spitfire that's been restored, and they actually have like a piece of the original aluminium in the watch itself.
That's so cool.
That you can see, so it's literally part of the Spitfire is in the watch. I was looking, I was like, after he did that one, I looked at my dad, I was like, I need a new watch.
Yeah.
That's like two things I love. I love watches and I love Spitfires. What more do you need?
Absolutely. Yeah, I could deal with a Spitfire watch. I could do that.
I like it when they. I like it when they do that, when it's like a charity sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to restore something. Like, yeah, even if it's like your name on something. Like there was I want to say 2020. There was 2020. There was you could fundraise one of the Vulcans.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And they would put your name if you did it. They put your name on the wing or something like that. I was tempted, but I never got around to doing it.
Yeah.
You done yet, Garrison?
Yes, I'm just politely waiting for you two gentlemen. If you'll kindly refresh.
Reflush the slides. Reflush the slides, boys. Reflush them.
All right.
Ow.
So, sorry for that delay, but I couldn't help myself. Had to get this up here. I've been working on my Horizon Island Defense Force bridge defense diorama, and so far, today I accomplished something huge. Balsa wood on the side of a huge diorama like this. I grabbed some foam nails and just fucking basically, it looks like I shot it with a shotgun. Just threw them bitches everywhere so the wood wouldn't warp, because the last time I tried this on this exact diorama, it didn't go well. But so I got that going. The bridge is glued down. The palm trees are made, with the exception of the thatch on top where the leaves are at, and then the bases, which will be made once the palm trees are glued in after the grass is applied. And then here you can see I have thrown in a bunch of brightly colored foliage. Now I'll go through and I'll paint all these different greens and some other colors. I just haven't yet. But super exciting, because for me, this is finally taking some shape. I started this before I started that Normandy diorama, I think.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
So it feels really good to finally have the diorama itself coming into shape, like the three palm trees, the Chetch hedgehogs on top of the bridge, the chunks of concrete that are going to be in the river there at the bottom. There's a tiny little snake. I don't know if you can see it coming up the riverbank. Yeah, you can't really see it, but it's super exciting. The three fighting holes is just I'm super pumped about this. So.
No, it's looking great. I can't wait to see it painted.
Thank you. Yeah, you and me both. Right now, since the balsa wood I think is completely dried already, I'm gonna obviously wait overnight. But if it is completely set and good, all I gotta do is take out those nails, cover up all the holes, some of the gaps, and then sand it a little bit in some spots, and then I can add the ground texture, which will go over the balsa wood, and then I can add the concrete, and that's like that right there is like crossing the bridge towards finishing up the diorama because it's at that point it's adding the grass, painting the grass, adding the plants that are painted or that will be painted, putting the palm trees in, using milliput to add the bases of them, and then I mean then the figures and vehicles, and that's it.
It's looking good. Can't wait to see it, man. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Thank you. And then the next one, I've been working on a lot of HIDF figures, but there's one that I've got mostly finished. That's the guy there on the right. So that's kind of laughing. So just to give you an idea of what the figures are going to look like, the camo scheme, the HIDF flag patch,
Chicken dance.
yeah, the chicken dance. Yeah, so this camouflage is really fun to paint. It's kind of relaxing to do. I've got 3 figures left to paint. The maroon is the 2 in the Jeep, and then one guy who's going to be sitting in one of the fighting holes. And then after that, I can paint their equipment, their boots, the HIDF flag, skin tones, and then give them a wash, weather all of them, seal them up, and then they'll be done. So, and then started chipping the 114. I wanted to make it look like super used, so I went with some pretty deep and aggressive chipping and scratches. It's not really chipping; it's more so scratches. Like it's been driving through very thick foliage and used and abused.
Now they look cool. I love your the camos on uniforms. I need to find out how you do those because I struggle.
Welp, one of these days when we do a hangout, I can. I mean, all those Ukrainian figures I gotta paint up. I mean, that's fucking 40 figures, give or take. So I'm
Yeesh.
sure somewhere in there I'll be doing M81, and I can show you how I do my camo.
Sounds good. Is that guy's rifle barrel bent?
Yeah, so it's whenever this was an old M14, like when I first got into the hobby, so I was using the X-Acto blade, and I cut it kind of aggressively, and I cut off like half the barrel. Don't know how I didn't cut the whole thing off. So it's kind of like bent, but it kind of plays to the whole HIDF thing.
It's like the German curved barrels.
Yes, we'll go with that. Yes. But yeah, just I'm hoping to have this thing done by November 3rd because I'm heading out to Missouri for that show where I'm meeting Floki and Gray. So that's my big focus right now is getting this thing finished and getting it done right. If I don't finish it the proper way by the time that show comes, I'm not going to take it, but I think I can get it done. Like I'm taking a day off of work this week just to work on it. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm super, super pumped about this one, guys, because that last diorama y'all know didn't work out for me. Fucking cat.
All right. So what have we got left on the slide?
HIDF group build never ends. It forever.
Nope.
It's always going.
We've changed it. There is no end date. You just build it. Just if you want to join in, we'll be posting in future episodes updates that other people have been doing for the HIDF. So whether they're a completed one or anything like that. I know that we have some super cool things to show off. I know Paul Gallagher's fucking
Oh yes.
gunship. That thing was incredible. That's so cool, that one, eh?
Spectacular.
You saw that one, Dennis, did you?
Oh yeah, I love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was so cool. With the fact that he's got lights and sounds in it, Jesus. We need him. We need to get him on here.
We do. He's been our longest Patreon supporter. We've had Floki on already, so
Yeah.
we got to get Paul on.
Yeah. So yeah, HIDF will just be giving regular updates. And of course, speaking of group builds, we've just finished one, so we must have another. Garrison?
Yes. All right. Despite my hatred for sand, we are doing the North African campaign group build starting November 1st, 2023, ending March 1st, god damn it, 2024. That's a typo. Join our Discord for all the information regarding our new group build. Please read the rules. There's 7 or 8 rules in there, but they explain everything you need to know about this group build. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. But yeah, looking forward to. We've already got some entries for the recreational, so some pretty neat stuff. Like I said, I personally hate the desert, but it's kind of cool seeing what people can do with it. Looking forward to seeing some neat builds, and we have a very special prize for this one. We have one winner, and it's your choice of any model kit or kits up to $60, not including shipping. So if you won and you wanted to buy like a $55 TACOM kit, you could do that, and then we would also cover shipping to wherever you're at. So pretty cool prize. That way you get to actually choose what you get up to a limit. So
yeah, very cool. It's going to be. There's already been a lot of cool discussions on what people are going to build, and there's a lot of excitement going around on this one. So
yeah, I think this is the one people have been the most excited about.
yeah, this is the one that was got the most sort of talk on at the moment, and yeah, so this is going to be good. So we want as many people in on this one as possible. See if we can end the year group build, like end of the year, just try and get as many people as we can, because this is going to be a cool one. You got a lot of time to work on it, so you can enter more than once. If you build 5 of them, fucking great. Enter them all if you want. That's fine with us. So.
Super stoked.
And of course, to close out the episode, Dennis.
Well, huge thanks to our Patreon supporters, Paul Gallagher and Lord Floki. Thank you both so much for supporting the podcast and keeping the lights on here. If you guys watching or listening to this podcast want to support us, keep the lights on, keep us producing content, you can go to our Patreon, which is in the link of our YouTube videos, and subscribe, chip in a few bucks a month, and get access to some really funny content.
Yep, that's where we post. I'm a bit behind on it. I need to catch up on it. Sorry, Paul. There is some stuff that I need to check on there, but basically it's whatever outtakes that we can't say on YouTube or we don't want to or anything like that. Just a little bit of extra content. It's usually the stuff that the worst things Garrison says.
You're welcome.
Funnily enough. But yeah, it's all the stuff we deem inappropriate for YouTube. And considering we say some pretty suspect things on an episode, the things in the outtakes are possibly worse. So, but there's only one way to you can find out. So subscribe to our Patreon and help us out. And with that all said, Dennis.
Well, you have been watching and listening to the Micro Machines podcast. Thank you so much for sticking with us as we learn about Italian tanks, and we will return to you next time. Until then, bye everyone.
See you later.
Adios. See ya.